Now I'm just going to automatically path it to right there. While my project's opening up, let me talk about a couple others, do's and don'ts. So, as I said before, the nature of what you're doing is that you're always checking out files, editing them, then checking back in. Now, the rule with all version control, it works like this, is when you check out a file, you're claiming ownership of that file for the time being. Oh, all right, so project's up. Let's create a new project. I'll create a new first-person project. I made it so big. Okay. U4 Perforce demo. All right, it's dropping it in there. Okay, so as I said before, is that the idea is that you're checking out folders, checking out files, checking them back in, submitting them back in. Now, the thing you do not want to do is that, so when you check out a file, you're claiming ownership. So that means that nobody else can actually make edits to those files. So if I check out a level and I make edits to it, as long as I have checked out, nobody else can actually submit a new version of that file, in this case, that level. So it's only going to change as soon as I submit it back in. Now, what will happen is that actually, I'll recorrect myself. I'll actually say what happens. What will happen, actually, multiple people can have the file checked out, but this is what will happen, which you guys will do, so might as well prepare you ahead of time, is that when you check out a file, you're theoretically claiming ownership that nobody else can make edit the file. Now, someone else can add it in and make their own edits. Now, if person A is working on the file level and keep doing it, then person B checks it out, works on a level, and then submits it up. Then what will happen to person A is now they're going to be out of sync, because the latest he was thought that he had the checked out file and he had the latest version, but now there's a new version here. So, and when he tries to push it up, you will now have to make a choice. That person A either has to revert his entire edits to whoever just made edits to the level. So he effectively loses all his work and then has to do whatever person B did and start from there. Or person A overwrites everything that person B did. So you have to pick one or the other. It's not going to merge them. You have to do one or the other. Does that make sense for everybody? All right. If you have questions, please type in the chat. Sorry, turn my headphones on again. So if anybody was asking an audio question, let me know. All right. So I think my audio is working again now. Yeah, it is. So the good habit is you check out, you check in and out often. So if you're making edits, check out the file, make your edits, and submit it back in. The other thing too is that when you're done working for that, submit everything you've done so far, or revert everything you've done so far. Do not go to sleep with a file checked out, because let's say that you can't get back to it till like a day or two from them. Then whoever's trying to work, all those things are checked out. They really can't do anything until you give them permission, revert it back or submit it back in so they can keep working. Now, for level designers in here. Now, and this goes along with Perforce, by the way, with Unreal. So this is Unreal or Unity. So actually, they are different setups, but same idea. Okay, Leon, what you're going to do after you create the workspace. So if you get that error, just where it says Team 1, what I want you to do after I have, make sure that first make sure your workspace is selected. So after you create it, make sure this says MSI desktop. This doesn't say no workspace. So for example, pop it up again. So if you don't have that, you really can't do get latest. So you have to pull that down. The second thing, which it should have done if you create a new workspace, if not, what you're going to do, if you already have a workspace, go to Team 1 and say map to view workspace. What it should do is add a new line to where you're creating a pathing from server to your machine. Now, most likely what it is that you could do it, you don't have to do it on your team folder. You can actually, I'm going to say, don't say it. You can actually do on the root folder of this depot and just say map the workspace here. And it should create this line. That's the line that you should be looking for. You should see effectively your path right here, followed by Myers 2021 game 394, blah, blah, blah. Hit OK, and then it should allow you to do it.
Wait, so you're saying that to do it from like the root?
Yeah, you can do it from the root. It's just creating a path for how Perforce is going to stream in the data.
Wait, so is the root like the team folder or the Myers 2021?
Folder structure. So the thing that's the farthest left is the root of the folder. So the root of the folder is Myers 2020. That's probably where I would say you do the map to workspace. I would say just do it
map
there.
To work. Okay.
And then it should add a line. You should see a line that just got added. Hit OK, and then go from there. Now, back to the level designers in here. What you should do is that if you're in Unity, you should make all your levels prefab everything. So if you're making a big level, make all your parts of your level prefabs. So like a building versus a park that's nearby or a house that's nearby. Make them all separate prefabs. Because what you could do, instead of actually checking out the level file, you could just check out the prefab of the thing in that level you're working on. And if you submit it up, someone else can come in and just re-download it and their level will update. Now, if you add new things in, you'll need to check out the level. But if you make all those little areas and you can add those things to those prefabs and update them and submit them as need be. So everybody can work on the same level without actually checking out said level. Does that make sense, everybody? So prefab everything. Now, in UE4 land, the equivalent of this is your blueprint, depending if the actor is a blueprint, or you do streaming levels. So if you haven't seen that yet, I could do a demo at some point how to stream levels in, but it's basically the same idea. You're making different parts of the level, their own kind of prefabs in a way that everybody can have their own levels, work on said levels, and make edits to it. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Now, let me just show you how to set up. So in UE4, all you're going to be doing is there should be a button up here on top that says source control. You'll click it, say connect to source control. It'll say it's disabled, select Perforce. And you're going to type in the same stuff. So the server name, as I said before, what you type in the server is this line right here with the perforce.default. That's the server name. MSI DeadSoft is the workspace name. So this one should be perforce.dpu.default.edu:1666. And then I actually should see when I click the drop down, there's MSI Desktop. So I can type it in here, but if I type this two parts already, it'll automatically see it. I can say accept. Now I have Perforce land. So now I can submit stuff up. And you'll see a button here which allows you to submit stuff up. Now, the one thing I forgot, I actually haven't submitted this up to Perforce yet. So let me do that now. Close down Unreal. Now, for Perforce people, Unreal people, most of the stuff you can leave here, the two folders that you can get rid of. Derived data cache can actually get rid of. I believe the only ones I don't need saved. Intermediate, it depends on what you're doing. It should be safe to push up as well. Save doesn't need to be here. Intermediate is usually fairly small. Actually, let me bring up, I have a picture saved of what's safe to push up. Let me find, there's a nice picture from Unreal. It's in their API website. Yeah, so I'll find the picture, but from what I read here too, it's all you need is mainly these guys. The config, content, the U project. Now, if you're using C++, there will be a source folder here that definitely needs to be pushed up, and the binary folders definitely would you can definitely push up as well. The three that doesn't need to be up there is the drive cache, intermediate, and saved. Drive cache, I'm like 90% sure that also gets generated, but I know saved and intermediate doesn't need to be there either. All right, so this is all I need to push up. So I'm going to go back to here, find that new set of folders. Boom, right click, mark for add, then go to pending, submit, UE for Perforce, submit. Give a second while that adds it up. Now, the Unreal plugin should also catch all the things that the Perforce would do. Unity would do. It will catch whenever you delete a file. It will catch when you rename a file, so on and so forth. Now, with Unreal, there's another thing I want to teach some of you guys on Unreal is when you move around folders, especially where you have a lot of files in it, and ones that usually cause issues is textures and materials because they're usually referenced in a lot of things. There's a fixed directory button that you should be aware of. I will show you here in a second. All right, now let's open up the project. Just gonna be lazy and open up right there. All right, so as I said before, let's open up Perforce. Oh, sorry, let's connect to Perforce. Boom. There we go, accept. Now it should have everything in here. Now I should be able to check out. There we go. So let's add, let's say, for example, folder, materials. I can then mark for add. I believe there's a setting somewhere in your editor settings that you can turn on that says automatically mark for add if it's new. This one right now, I think I haven't turned off, so I actually have to go in manually to edit in. So once it's done, I can then do the same. Actually, the button, I can actually hit the button up here and say submit, which will bring up all the change lists of things I've changed so far. So added new material and submit. Now, one thing for Unreal, as I was saying before, when you move around files, it's a neat thing that Unreal does, but it's important to be aware, especially when you're pushing stuff up the Perforce. When you move around a lot of folders, a thing that I usually do after I'm done for the day is I usually go to my content folder, and there is a button here called Fix Redirectories. Now, what happens is that when I move around folders, which the two big culprits that usually have issues is textures and levels, is when I move them to different folders, what it does is that it does kind of move them to a new folder, but it actually keeps a reference to where the file originally was, because other assets is probably built around where those locations were. So when you're done working your stuff, I usually go right at the end and I say fix directories. What I'll do, Unreal will now take the time, get rid of any old references of where it was, clean it up so it's no longer there. And it'll actually move stuff around. Does that make sense, everybody? Creates a lot of weird files. for those redirectories. All right. So that's about it. Is there any questions? Oh, Angie, you're getting that same error if you're in class. You'll need to do the same thing I said Leon to do, which was right click the root folder of our class, this one, Myers 2021 394, right click it and say map to workspace view. You should see a line that gets added. Most likely that happens for people that already had Perforce in another class and they are adding this one. And by the way, after you do the map to workspace, it might ask you if you want to update, if you want to download latest, don't. It'll try to download literally everything. Which in ours is not too bad, but if you were in like another class that already had a lot of stuff there, whew, it'll actually download literally everything in the server. All right. Any questions so far? Anything that any Perforce questions at all? Please bring them up now. I can help everybody set it up later if they're having troubles with the group. Otherwise, let's keep rolling. Answer a question.